next guests are as traditional as country music itself. They're one of the most popular and respected groups in country music. Not bad for a bunch of guys who almost became the Kleenex Brothers. They'll explain that. Here's their latest album, Statler Brothers. The legend goes on, and it certainly does, and I couldn't be happier. The the Kleenex Brothers, tell me about that quickly.
Well, we needed a name many years ago when we first started out back in Virginia, and we found a name on the box of facial tissues, Statler tissues, which you've probably never heard of. But for no better reason, we saw this name and we liked it, so we became the Statler Brothers.
So we've just about established you're not brothers.
That's right. Two of us are brothers, but none of us are Statlers.
Only two of us are Kleenex.
Let me see.
Yes.
You two are brothers?
Right.
Yes.
You know how I can tell? The timbre of their voices.
Right, I think so.
And you know,
We're actually using the same voice. You'll never catch us talking at the same time.
Right.
will you introduce yourselves, please?
I'm Phil Bosley.
Phil Bosley, where are you from, Phil?
I'm from Stanton, Virginia.
And
Don Reed, Stanton, Virginia.
Harold Reed, Stanton, Virginia.
And Jimmy Fortune, and I live in Stanton now.
but you're not originally from Stanton, Virginia.
No.
He's an import. We brought him in.
40 miles away.
About 40 miles away. We brought him across the mountain.
You know, a lot of, so much has happened since the first time I began to bring country people on my show. The big thing in those days was, boy, if I could only cross over to that pop chart.
Yeah.
And I think old Eddie Arnold was one of the first, in my recollection, to do it. And now I pick up the charts, and you guys are all over the place.
Yeah, it's become more that.
Because of people like you, Mike, I think people are now trying to cross over to get on the country charts. It has gotten that much bigger.
It is so big.
Yeah.
I want to tell you, I continuously say this, but I was in England once, and I turn on the telly, and I pick up this thing from Wembley, and all you people, and I said to myself, this is all over the world.
The English fans, too, are some of the most loyal in the world. They know your history. They know every word to your song. They know your hat size. They know more about you than you know yourself.
How do you explain that?
I don't know. I think they're hungrier for it because artists don't go to England as often as they may go to Chicago and Tucson.
That's true.
So they're a little hungry for it. They don't get it as often. And, Lord, they cherish every bit of information that they get.
I know that there's a very receptive audience. I found it. I did a couple of shows over there, and they laugh at red hats over there.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
They're really wonderful. Can you keep it down on the end? You're talking a little too much.
We could probably go over there and use some of that 11-year-old material we've got.
That's right, yeah. Use the old jokes. Sure. They haven't heard it for a while.
But when you guys started, it wasn't a common thing to have groups, country groups. There were mostly guys doing singles, and that's
when we came along in the mid-'60s, then if you were a group, you were a backup group. You were doing ooh-ah behind a single artist. And we wanted a little more than that, and we feel like we've made some inroads into opening the doors as far as groups in country music. Now, there's a lot, and there's certainly room for everybody, but that is something that we're right proud of, and as much as we feel like a group could be a major act. They didn't have to be a backup group.
Now, you people book yourselves?
Yeah, everything from the ground up.
Did you always do that?
Oh, we've been doing it for about 10 years now, I guess. We promote our own tours.
Now, how do you instinctively know when it's time to increase the price? Or how do you know what the tariff will stand? Seriously.
We just take whatever's there. we just go into town with 2 bags, and when they're full, we leave.
Your lifestyles are as traditional as your music, I'm told.
Yeah, we still live in our hometown, our little town of Stanton, Virginia, 25,000 people, and it's kind of just a red, white, and blue, old-fashioned American town. Do the people pretty much take you for granted, leave you alone, or do they treat you as special celebrities?
Well, so many of us, of the people at home, have known us since we were little brats this high, you know.
Yeah.
We're still Harold, Phil, and Don, Jimmy, you know.
But they're very proud of you.
Oh, yes.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Tell us about your new office building. I love this story. Listen to this.
We were riding in a parade a couple years ago, a 4th of July parade, which we have a big celebration in our hometown each year, a charity. And we spotted our old grade school, which had been sitting vacant for about 2 years. They'd built a new school. And we said, you know, we really need to expand our offices. This would be a great idea. And it's like a 3-building complex.
What's your school?
So we bought our old grade school.
Now, Mike originally said I'd never get out of there. So I thought it was kind of nice to be able to go back
in lieu of a diploma. Isn't that wonderful?
So we have our offices in one of our old school buildings.
How does a guy go about buying a school? Who do you talk to?
Oh, you call
school people.
The school people.
The school people.
Give me the school people on the phone.
I'll tell you my favorite story inside of that story is on the top floor, up above the gymnasium and everything, we have 4 offices up there. And Don's is on the end, and his office turned out to be the same room that he was in the 7th grade.
Yeah.
And he's looking out the same window that he was looking out in the 7th grade.
All through the 7th grade, I stared at that window. Now I do it every day again.
I think that's great. I don't know why that just...
It's a feeling that I guess you couldn't really get anywhere else. I mean, when you start, there was a time when you were little, and walking those halls means so many different things to you now.
Sure. You play a lot of state fairs during the year, don't you?
We sure have. We're right in the middle
Do
of
those crowds differ? Do they still set them up the same way? When I used to play them, it's almost always a racetrack.
Yep.
Yes.
And they put, listen to this, folks, they put the people
in the grandstand.
in the grandstand, and you're out where the horses would be running. You're
half a mile away from the people.
You're up too far, and I used to tell them, guy, give me enough cord to get up in those stands.
Yes.
So I could talk and work to the people.
You tell a joke, it takes it 25 minutes to get to the back of the road.
You know, there's still a few that do that, but they have wised up, and they do put the chairs on the track now, because, as you well know, you got to have the people close to you in order to have any kind of rapport. But it's a lot of fun, and they are different, a little bit different audiences from a bigger concert.
And you guys are leaving here tonight, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
This very night, and going to Seattle.
Yeah, right outside of Seattle, Puyallup.
Now, how will you get there?
We're on bus.
We travel in 2 buses.
And you have them all equipped like most of the people do with the kitchens and all the stereo, microwaves,
TVs, machines.
Who does the cooking, guys?
We take.
I have been last week.
Have you?
I really, boy, get it right out of a can, stick it in the microwave. They think I'm hot stuff.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, I'm told one of your biggest fans is author Kurt Vonnegut.
Kurt, yes, we have met. He's been to some of our shows, he and his wife, and we've become friendly, and he's said some very nice things about us in his new
Like
book,
what?
Palm Sunday.
Oh.
He called us America's singing poets. He said...
Yeah, that's heavy stuff. That's classic.
Nice.
He said the class of '57, which was a big record for us a few years back, should be the national anthem. You know, he apparently thinks very highly of us, as we do of him, and we appreciate those kind of thoughts. You know.
Isn't that nice?
It's nice to have a man of his caliber to say that about you.
How do you keep coming
his
up?
caliber's gone way up since he said that, too.
Oh, yeah.
He was only a 22 when he was doing it.
He's at least a 45 Magnum now.
Tell me about how you keep coming up with fresh material. Do you write much of your own material?
We write all of it.
All of
We
it?
write practically, I'd say 99% of our music. We write all of our comedy.
You publish it yourself?
Yeah, we have our own publishing company.
Guys must
We try to keep it all in the family.
They're not going to run any tag days for the Statler Brothers, are they? I want to thank you so much for coming
Mike,
by.
we really
The
enjoyed
only
it.
thing I miss is not being able to hear that performance.
Go to Watchi'N with us tonight.
We'll take you on the bus with us, Mike.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you,
Nice
buddy.
having you again. We're out of time, and tomorrow our guests will be film star Stuart Granger, lovely Joan Van Ark from Knots Landing, Steve Canale from the Dallas series, and world-renowned attorney Melvin Belli. Good night.